I could only have such limited vocabulary in this life to express the incredible beauty, the incredible amount of love. And then when you're overwhelmed with that kind of love, you want so much to tell people here how wonderful that is.
I looked and I saw the Father in front of me. I couldn't see his face because his glory is so big, so bright. It shined and it made all heaven be lighted up. His glory made everything that was the light. There was no sun, there was no moon, no stars. He was the light.
My breathing stopped. Before I knew it, the hospital and the staff and everything disappeared into excruciatingly bright, bright, bright light. And although I didn't feel any pain from that, but it was just so intense, so bright. And
was that the glory of God?
It was amazing, because then Jesus was at the end of that light.
A study of over 400 people over years. Those people who had attempted suicide and didn't have any form of the near-death experience went on to attempt it at least 3 to 6 more times or until they succeeded. The people who had some form of the near-death experience never ever attempted to commit it again.
You died on the table. What memory do you have of what happened when you left your body?
The memory was heaven, and I knew exactly where I was. There was no in-between. It was instantly, and I knew where I was.
What is all this noise?
Yeah. And this person behind the desk says, "Don't you know?" I said, "No, I don't. Tell me what it is." These were all intercessory prayers coming up on my behalf.
So all the noise that you were hearing were people praying for you to not die.
Yeah, right. Really. And in disbelief, I said, "You got to be kidding me. I don't know this many people." And the person behind the desk said, "Would you like to hear one?" A prayer was drawn out. I was drawn to it, basically. And I heard every word that man was praying. And it was verified because I think 2 Sundays before, they had started recording their messages. And it was all on tape.
And so when you heard it, it was word for word. Actually, as I understand it from the book, you said the prayer and then you listened to it? Is that what happened, Glenda?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. So Mabry Kane, our friend, said, "Well, we prayed for you a lot of times. I don't remember a particular time." So Ron explained again, said the prayer, quoted him the exact phrase, and then they found the tape and it matched exactly.
Ron, you made eye contact with a young man in heaven. Tell me about that. It was very significant.
This young man, almost in a mischievous way, said, "I made it, I made it, I made it."
What did the Lord tell you about this young man?
Remember this.
And then when we came and they said, "Well, we had Scotty's funeral this week. No need to pray for him anymore." And after the meeting, Ron went over to her and you said, "I don't know why I asked, but did you bring a picture of Scotty?" And Carolyn said, "Well, I normally don't carry a picture with me, but I went back into the house tonight to bring this." And she reached down into a large bag and pulled out a framed 8x10 of Scotty and showed Ron. And the next thing I knew, and Ron dropped to his knees in front of her, just collapsed, and said, "That's the young man I saw entering heaven." You had no doubt whatsoever it was him.
And we were in Paris, and at 11 o'clock in the morning I had a perforation of my stomach. When this happened, the pain was the most acute pain I'd ever experienced in my life, and it just dropped me right down to the ground. It's real hard for me to talk about, and I'm not going to tell you much about it, just a little bit, because it just gets too ugly. It's like being in a beehive, just hundreds of them all over me. And I eventually was just laying on the ground there, all ripped up, pain everywhere, inside, outside. I heard my voice. It wasn't somebody else's voice. It wasn't the voice of God or anything. It was my voice. And I heard it speak, but I didn't speak it. So whether it's the voice of my conscience or I don't know what it was. It was just, but I distinctly heard my voice say, pray to God. And so I thought to myself, I don't believe in God. Pray to God. So I called out into the darkness, Jesus, please save me.
Please save me.
And he came. He came. First there was a tiny little speck of light in the darkness, and very rapidly got bright. And he reached down. He was in this light, and he's gently putting his hands underneath me and very tenderly picking me up. And as he's touching me, everything just goes away. All the wounds, all the pain, all the dirt, it just kind of like evaporated away. And I'm like whole and healed. And inside, just filled with his love, which I wish I could be more articulate about. It's so frustrating not being able to tell people about it, because you know, it's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. I mean, it's like it's the everything. You know, it's the all of life is to know that love. And he's carrying me out of there. Up we just go. Out, gone. And we're moving towards a world of light, and we stopped. We weren't in hell, we weren't in heaven. We were in between. And we stopped. And we began to converse, and he was talking and telling me things, and he brought over some angels, and we went over my life from beginning to end. What they were trying to convey to me, in a nutshell, was my whole purpose of my existence had been to love God, love my neighbor as myself. That's why I had been created. That's what I was in this world to. And I believe that one of the reasons God gave me this experience, so that I would have an opportunity to share it with someone. I don't know who, I never know who, but I would have the opportunity to share it with somebody